The pale horse does not arrive first. It cannot. It comes only after conquest has worn its crown, only after violence has turned neighbor against neighbor, only after famine has weighed bread on the scales and found most people wanting. This is the fourth seal, the last of the horsemen, and by the time it breaks, by the time this rider appears, the damage has already been done. The Lamb opens the fourth seal. The fourth living creature speaks, "Come." And what emerges is unmistakable. A horse. But not white like triumph. Not red like fire. Not black like mourning. Pale. Sickly. The color of something dying. And the rider upon it bears a name. This is the moment when consequences become unavoidable. This is the moment when everything that has been set in motion reaches its inevitable conclusion. By the time the pale horse rides, the world has already been fractured by deception, torn apart by war, and starved by scarcity. Now it is being collected. The Greek word is chloros. Not white. Not pale in the sense of clean or pure. Chloros. A sickly greenish pale. The color of decay. Of corpses. Of life draining away. Think of a body that has been dead for days. Think of flesh losing its color, turning ashen, greenish, wrong. Think of someone gravely ill, skin pallid, eyes sunken, the vitality visibly fading. This is not a symbolic color chosen for poetry. This is biological, physical, the color of death itself. The white horse was pristine, deceptive in its beauty. The red horse was fire and blood, alarming, violent, unmistakable. The black horse was the color of mourning and starvation. But this is the color of life failing. And the rider who sits upon it bears a name. This is the only horseman explicitly named. Not conquest. Not war. Not scarcity. Death. The others brought their judgments, their consequences, their chaos, but they were not named. They were defined by what they did, what they carried, what they caused. But this rider? He is named. Death is not an abstraction here. Not a concept. Not a force. He is a person. A figure. Someone who rides, who acts, who is given authority. Death personified. And in that name is something profoundly unsettling. Because death is no longer something that happens. It is someone who arrives. It is a presence. A rider. A reality you can see coming. But death does not ride alone. The text says it plainly. Hades followed with him. Not hell, as some translations render it, though the distinction matters less than the image. Hades. The realm of the dead. The grave. The shadowy holding place where souls go when the body fails. Picture it. Death rides ahead, claiming, striking, cutting down. And behind him, like a shadow, like an escort, like a procession gathering the fallen. Hades follows. This is not localized death. Not a single battle, a single plague, a single tragedy. This is systemic. Ongoing. Sweeping. Death claims. Hades collects. The image is relentless. One takes life. The other takes what's left. Together, they form a grim harvest, reaping what conquest, war, and famine have sown. And they are given something no other rider receives. Authority. They were given authority. And not just over a small dominion. Listen to this carefully. Authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth. 1/4. Not half. Not all. Not random destruction without boundary. 1/4. This is a specific, measured limit. No other horseman is given a numerical scope like this. The white horse conquers. The red horse takes peace. The black horse rations food. But death and Hades? They are given authority over a precise portion of the earth. What does that mean? It means massive devastation. A quarter of the world's population. Countless lives. But it also means restraint. Devastating, yes. Horrific, yes. But not total. Not final. Not uncontrolled. And this authority is exercised in 4 devastating ways. The text lists them. 4 instruments. 4 methods. 4 modes of destruction. First, the sword. Violence. War. The red horse's legacy still claiming lives. Second, famine. Starvation. Scarcity. The black horse's scales still weighing, still measuring, still crushing. Third, plague, disease, pestilence. Bodies weakened by hunger, broken by war, now succumbing to sickness. Fourth, wild beasts. Nature itself turning lethal. Animals that once feared humans now hunting them. The collapse of civilization so complete that even the natural order becomes dangerous. Do you see what's happening here? These four instruments gather up everything the previous horseman brought. War from the red horse, famine from the black horse, and now, disease and wild beasts. This is not a new judgment. This is the culmination, the intensification, the gathering together of all that has come before. And when society collapses this completely, when war has ravaged, when food has vanished, when disease spreads unchecked, even the animals become agents of death, because there is no one left strong enough to protect against them. This is why many interpreters see the pale horse differently from the others. The white horse brought deception. The red horse brought violence. The black horse brought scarcity. But the pale horse? The pale horse brings comprehensive death. War creates famine, fields burned, farmers killed, supply lines destroyed. Famine weakens immune systems, bodies unable to fight, children unable to grow, populations vulnerable. Disease spreads, plague moving through weakened communities like wildfire. Social collapse brings chaos, no infrastructure, no safety, no order. This is not a single disaster. This is a chain reaction. One catastrophe feeding into the next, each amplifying the others, until death is not an event but a condition. This is death on a civilizational scale. Not just soldiers dying in battle. Not just the poor starving in the streets. Everyone. Everywhere. Civilians. The vulnerable. Entire populations. And this brings us back to the image of Hades following close behind. Hades is the collector. Death rides ahead, claiming, cutting down, leaving bodies in his wake. And Hades follows, gathering them, taking them, escorting them to the realm of the dead. This is not battlefield casualties counted and buried. This is mass reaping. Think of harvest time, scythes cutting through grain, gathering in what has grown, storing it away. But this harvest is not wheat. It is people. The vulnerable, the strong, the young, the old. Those who die by the sword. Those who starve. Those who fall to disease. Those taken by beasts. Hades collects them all. Sit with that. Let the weight of it rest. This is not distant. This is not abstract. This is the image Revelation gives us of death's work, comprehensive, relentless, sweeping. And yet, even here, the text places a boundary. Authority was given to them. Not seized. Not stolen. Not wielded independently. Given. Death does not ride because he has escaped divine control. Hades does not follow because God has lost track of the dead. They are given authority, which means several things. First, death is not sovereign. He is permitted, authorized, sent. Second, chaos is not ultimate. Even in the midst of catastrophe, there is order. Terrible order, yes, but order nonetheless. Third, judgment operates under divine limitation. A fourth of the earth. No more. No less. This is not random destruction. This is not the universe spinning out of control. This is measured, permitted, temporary. And that matters. Because it means that even in the face of death itself, personified, riding, claiming, God has not abandoned his throne. The Lamb still holds the scroll. The seals are still opened by his hand. Death rides. But he rides on a leash. Let's revisit the progression of the horses and their riders one more time. The white horse, deceptive conquest. Peace that isn't peace. Victory that leads to ruin. The red horse, violent conflict. Peace removed. Communities turning inward, tearing themselves apart. The black horse, crushing scarcity. Bread rationed. The poor starving while the wealthy retain their luxuries. And now, the pale horse, large-scale death. War, famine, disease, wild beasts. Everything culminating in comprehensive devastation. The pale horse embodies the outcome of everything that came before. This is not a new judgment. This is the consequence phase. Deception destabilizes. War destroys. Famine weakens. And death collects. This is the end of the sequence. The fourth seal reveals what the first three set in motion. And what it reveals is this. When human systems are built on lies, maintained by violence, and sustained by exploitation, death is inevitable. Not because God is cruel, but because falsehood, bloodshed, and injustice lead to death. They cannot do otherwise. The pale horse reminds us that death is real, not symbolic, not metaphorical, not something we can spiritualize away. Death rides. Death claims. Death is given authority. But death is not final. The one who opens the seals, the Lamb who was slain, he has already conquered death. He has passed through it and emerged victorious. He holds the keys to Hades and death. So the pale horse rides. But he rides within limits. He claims a fourth, but not all. He is given authority, but it is temporary. Revelation doesn't give us this image to terrify us into submission. It gives it to us to reveal what is true. That the systems of this world lead to death when they are built on conquest, violence, and exploitation. That consequences are real and they are coming. That even in judgment, God's hand is present, sovereign, restraining. And that death, though it rides, though it claims, though it follows, is not free. It operates on borrowed authority. It works within boundaries. And one day, it will be thrown into the lake of fire itself. The pale horse is the last of the four. And that is fitting. Because death always comes last. But it does not have the final word.